Hi, welcome to Your Online Psychologist. Welcome to the first session and welcome to the channel, and I hope you enjoy the first session and maybe even find something helpful in whatever you hear. I've received a couple of questions from people who seek psychological advice, and I'll try to answer them all if I've got the time, because I just found out that the SD card I put in my camera is stupidly small, so I'll have to buy a better one. I'm so sorry about that. Right, so I got a few questions. The first question is from, I forgot to ask if she wanted to stay anonymous, so we'll make her anonymous and call her Esme from now on. Esme, she tells me, I get distracted and cannot concentrate while studying and get carried away in a world of fantasy. I'm in a long distance relationship, so most of the time I get tempted to use the phone while studying also, even if he doesn't text me, and I get tangled in my thoughts. She tells me that this happens whenever she opens her book to start studying, and even though that she likes her courses and does decide to study a particular course on a particular day, she never gets it done, and during exams she has to push herself a lot until the last minute. I think this sounds familiar for a lot of students and for myself as well. During my time in the applied university, I did a honors program together with a friend or roommate or a housemate, whatever you want to call it, a classmate, and in cooperation with a university in Russia, in Tomsk, we didn't succeed, but we tried to build a course which could help students sort of battle their own procrastination problems. Well, obviously we found out that there's a lot of forms of procrastination, and this sounds like some sort of procrastination to me. So procrastination comes down to a few things. The first one is that even though everyone can make some sort of planning, some sort of schedule, even with like military times on it, only a few of us, I guess, can plan realistically, know themselves, adjust their planning to how they know themselves and how they would behave with this planning. Now, the other part is self-sabotaging, and self-sabotaging is usually when you don't really like the course you're doing your homework for, but, well, I guess anyone self-sabotages. I mean, how many of us do not turn off their phone when studying? I don't turn it off, I rarely do. When I notice that I look at my phone too much when I should be studying, I use a sort of little app trick, I guess, something that we found during our research for the procrastination course. So what we found during the research was the sort of Pomodoro method. I didn't know this, but a Pomodoro is a sort of kitchen timer. I do know a kitchen timer, but I didn't know it was called a Pomodoro. So it's really simple. You turn on a timer, and as long as this timer ticks, you can't look at your phone, you put it away or something, you can't look on Facebook, whatever, and you reward yourself when that timer is over. And if I remember correctly, the amount of minutes that most people can focus is like 45 minutes. So if you put on a timer on 45 minutes and turn off your phone and tell yourself that after this timer, you can app your boyfriend or watch whatever's on Facebook, then you should be all right, I guess. Now, this doesn't really solve your exam problem, but it may be a start. The app I use may be interesting. I'm not sure if I can find it right now, but it's called Forest, and I'll put a link to it in the description. Forest is sort of a timer app as well, and every time you finish like a complete timer, you get a sort of tree, and by that you build a forest. So that's fun. Right, so the other question from Instagram is from Ashley, sorry. Ashley is 14 years old, and let me see. Ashley tells me, I don't know why, but If someone talks to me, even if it's my parents, I get mad. What's wrong with me? Well, first of all, there's nothing wrong with you. Everyone gets mad every once in a while. So I ask her to describe an example, a situation in which this could happen. She says, it doesn't really matter, just when someone approaches me and starts to talk, I get mad, and at home I just try to stay in my room, so I won't have to talk to my parents or someone, anyone. And for some reason, even a simple conversation makes me mad. Do I have anger problems? Well, the first thing I'd like to say about anger problems is that there's a disorder, and that's the impulse anger disorder, and there's a lot of controversy around it, if it even is real or just like an excuse for people who beat others up, and they just say, well, I went mad and I couldn't think because of the disorder. So that's about that disorder. When I read this problem, the first thing that comes to mind is a personality problem. Personality problems always involve other people, and the way you interact with these people. So other people are part of the problem. However, as I don't know the word, when you I'm so sorry for this. When you talk to someone and look down, condescending, is that the word? I'm not sure. So I don't mean to be that, but actually personality problems are very common during a lot of phases of puberty, and considering your age, you are in puberty. During, well, all of our teenage years, and if I can remember correctly, Dick Swab, it was like until you're 24 or something, your frontal lobe from your brain keeps growing, and the development of this lobe, well, causes sort of chaos in your brain because it's constantly adjusting to the new development. And in the frontal lobe, there's like planning and feelings of responsibility, but for a major part, it's personality. So during your teenage years, you form your personality, you form your identity, and that's all because of that lobe that's growing like all the time. So for a lot of us, our personality is formed during like our teenage years, which are from 12 to, well, 20, I guess, but I think it's growing until I thought 24, but I'm not sure. However, I would like to say that personality disorders, they reveal themselves, or they manifest themselves from the age of like 15. So I don't think you have any personality disorders, but if you are watching and you're 16 and you think that you might have personality disorders, then you're at the right age to seek counseling. And I suggest you do, because that's not an easy set of problems. None of them are, but that's a really difficult one. So a sort of practical tip, which is what I would like to give everyone who asks me anything, is oh damn, I've been talking for quite a while. I'll do another recording. Hold on. Right, we're back for the third time. You don't know that, but I've recorded like a couple of minutes every time and found out my card was not doing what I wanted it to do. So a practical tip for Ashley. Ashley, the first thing I would say to you as a sort of answer to your problem is that it will pass. Since a factor in this problem is your age, it will gradually become less of a problem, because like I told you, you have this development of the frontal lobe, which develops until somewhere in the start of your 20s. Your personality and the search for this personality and the search for identity becomes more stable. So that will pass. But you do have this problem right now, so I should give you a practical tip. Because the problem lies in a sort of personality category, it involves others. It's about interaction, and interaction in this case is your communication, or the communication of others. Now, when people are angry, and especially when you live with a lot of people under one roof, when people are angry, you tend to make, I hope I'm using the right word, reproaches, which is like someone tells you, you didn't do this right, you didn't do that right, you're doing this wrong, you should have done that, you. That's a reproach. And that's always an attacking sort of stance in a conversation, which will obviously make the other one either defending or attack back. And whichever role of those two you have, you could solve this rather easily. And I hope that I can explain it in English. When someone attacks or just gives you one of those reproaches, try to go in a sort of a meta communication, which means that you look at the conversation for a split second from a bird's eye view, and you mention this. So when someone gives you a reproach, you didn't do the dishes, you didn't clean your room, you're on the couch all day, why are you doing that? I'm thinking of things that were said to me when I was younger. You should go like, yeah, I'm hearing you say this, and we're having this conversation a lot of times, and I want to solve it, and I need you to help with that. Put the problem with them. Let them solve it. Let them think of a solution. Say that you want a solution, but let them think of it. And so mention that you're in this conversation again, and say what your interest is. I want this. You're saying this, but I want this, and I'm experiencing it like this. And often this weird little thing cleans up a lot of the tension, a lot of the air within those angry conversations. So I hope that helps. Now I've got another question, and I hope I can do it within the time that I have. So Anonymous Alex. Anonymous Alex is obviously not the real name, but I forgot to ask for a fake name, so Anonymous Alex it is. Alex told me that Alex just started to see a psychiatrist who sort of hinted at something like bipolarity. And Alex didn't really have a question, but would like some info on bipolar disorders. And even though that I wrote my bachelor thesis on the differences between borderline disorder and bipolar disorder, I had to look in my books again. Bipolar disorder is a mood disorder, and I think most people know the disorder as a sort of up and down disorder, which is, well, one of the types that a bipolar disorder can be, but bipolar disorder is way more than that. If you can think of a depression, I think that's a situation a lot of people can imagine, not only because maybe they've had one, but they know someone who had one. Depression is really common. So think of your mood as being right here, which is like the normal mood, yeah? Depression is way down here, so deep crevice, I think that's the word. And then you have manic episodes, depressive episodes and manic episodes, so really ups and downs. Beside manic episodes, you have hypomanic episodes, which are like here, which are like the manic episodes, an elevated mood, but not as much. It's being obsessive over something you really like, and being able to sleep really little, and having the words are so difficult. Then you really want to talk all the time and want to tell about what you're doing and what you're excited about. That's hypomanic. And A manic episode is like the exact opposite of the deepest depression that you can think of. It's the delusion. It could involve the delusional ideas that you are like the incarnation of a prophet or something like that, or spending all your money because you wanted to buy a big boat or something like that. So obviously that brings some sort of self-destruction with it, just like depression can do. You can lose all your money. You can have unprotected sex with a lot of partners, stuff like that. That's really typical for a manic episode. Now, to get a diagnosis of bipolar disorder, you need to have had either one of those episodes or a hypomanic episode. Depressive episode is not necessary, but in some of the types, it is necessary. So obviously, I kind of wonder what the psychiatrist now knows and how he started hinting that. But that's what I can tell you in this really short time about a bipolar disorder. I have other questions that I would like to answer, but well, since my SD card is acting up so much, I'd like to say that I do the others in the next session, and I hope there will be new questions as well. In the next session, I've got a problem about a fetish, so a sex question, and the answer to what psychoanalysis now is, so modern psychoanalytic therapy. Yeah, so I do hope that anyone heard something that they are familiar with or can identify themselves with, or might disagree with me on. Whatever it is, let me know. And if you've got another question that you want me to answer, so a psychological question or a question about psychology, don't hesitate to ask. I'll put Reddit and Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. Well, YouTube, I shouldn't put that in the link, but all the ways in which you could message me in the description. And I'll see you guys at the next session, which will probably be 1 week from now. Thank you for being here, and I hope that you enjoyed the session. Yeah, I hope that's all I wanted to say. Goodbye. See you next time.